It's difficult, again, I think, to explain to some folks, many of them people I know, how things have changed so drastically. February the 28th changed everything. Believe it or not, with this Iranian adventure, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what the hell to call this. But it changed drastically there. And there has been an apotheosis, an elevation, and this, I don't want to say canonization because they've already been there. It's not like they're new. But Candace Owens and now Tucker Carlson, and you're going to see Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're going to see Alex Jones again, even Megyn Kelly to an extent, and others who were singled out by the president in one of the greatest gifts ever, to cement the fact, to signal, to herald, to sound the klaxon, sound the alarm, that these are the new voices, directly, I guess, almost corollaries to what the peace movement was in the 60s. It is a sea change. You're also seeing the end of not MAGA per se, because that's a misnomer, but the prototypical, archetypal, paleo-conservative, kind of a cable news conservative views. That's over with. The rhetoric, the lines about who is and isn't a threat to the United States, that is done. And we're going to be discussing this. But first, this critical word. Last year, we talked about Alaska, a powerhouse of mineral wealth with a long track record of responsible development. Now it's back in focus with support from the Department of Defense and Department of Energy and the reopening of the Ambler Road project under President Trump. Momentum is building fast. Vizsla Copper, trading as VCUFF in the U.S. and VCU in Canada, has taken a major step forward. The company now owns 100% of the Palmer project, a high-grade asset believed to hold billions in in-ground value. It was even named by Alaska's governor in a memo to the White House as a priority for domestic critical minerals. And here is the headline. Washington just rolled out over $42 billion in support for critical minerals in early 2026 alone. We have seen this before. Similar backing sent other Alaska explorers up over 200%. Vizsla trades at a fraction of that value. Bottom line, America is rebuilding its mineral supply chain and domestic supply is winning. Big thanks to Vizsla Copper for making today's video possible. Tucker Carlson in particular, let's talk about Tucker first, could not ask more for such an unimaginative group of individuals who represent the news group or the news corps or the news brigade, for basically asking him the same question that he is being asked and others as well. Why do they call you an anti-Semite? This is, whenever he hears this question, he must think, yes. Because it's so obvious. It is so easy. It is so, you don't even need to think about this. What he is saying, what everybody is saying, what the world is saying, is simply this. A disagreement as to foreign strategy, whatever you want to call it, of the state or the nation of Israel does not in any way include or provide within the rubric of such, as a subdivision, a slam and attack against Judaism or Jewish people or the Jewish faith or the Jewish culture or the Jewish institution. This is a state. We have blasted France forever. In fact, in some respects, it was always when in doubt, slam the French. Yeah, but if it wasn't for us, you'd be speaking German, you ingrate, you. It was, we used to make jokes about, what is their battle flag? White, just these. And there was always something. Remember after freedom fries? Remember after they wouldn't let us fly over for Iraq, whatever. We had freedom fries, and we were dumping, wine. Anyway, during the course of that childish little bit, nobody ever suggested to us that we were being Francophobic to the point of being elevated to that of this anti-Semitic trope. It's ridiculous. It is axiomatic. We know it. But yet people keep asking this question over and over again, and they don't understand it. And it's almost as though, and what I'm telling you now is this is what any observer will tell you. There are young people and new voters and voters in general who were saying, what is this bloodlust or this focus or this preoccupation that the United States has with Iran or Iran? I can't ever get this straight. What? I don't get it. And what the president doesn't understand is he keeps repeating this tropism, this repeat. They're the number one state-sponsored terrorism. They cannot get a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon. And they say this almost in a mantra stage. It's like this rote, this kind of this hum, this chant, this prayer. I don't understand it. It may make sense to you. It may seem to make sense. It may, but most people are saying, I don't get it. I don't get it. And then when somebody says, wait a minute, do you think there is anything to the fact that the number one lobbyist for, not just in terms of AIPAC per se, but just the number one proponent of war with Iran has been, since time immemorial, has been Israel, who has focused on Iran. I never can get it right. With that famous UN picture, remember that? Remember that Roadrunner Acme bomb, that thing with the fuse and, this red line, safe. What was that about? In this era of CGI and AI and the most sophisticated of symbology, at least from a graphic point of view, you're doing this with a red marker? And people then said, what? I don't get it. And when people said it, they were being honest. But instead of the president or anybody else saying, well, let me explain this to you, they didn't, because maybe the reason they knew that it didn't work. It wasn't transferring. It wasn't connecting. Voters don't get things. They don't understand things. You can do this a little bit. 9/11, people were so upset. I remember I was. Certainly being here, we were a little bit more amenable, a little bit more susceptible, a little bit more conciliatory when it came to the idea that maybe we had to do something very, very quickly to attack those people because the smoking gun could be a mushroom cloud. Okay, maybe that was then. But it's not now anymore. People are saying, this doesn't make any sense. First of all, you see this? I know this may sound crazy to you. This is a globe. Americans don't know anything about geography. They never, ever, ever look at a globe or a map. You'll never see maps on TV. And sometimes, you ever see when all of a sudden there'll be a murder in, Bransford, Georgia. I just made that up. And there'll be the map of Georgia, and then boop, this little dot, boop. Why? Because they need B-roll just to keep you staring. They don't particularly care whether you know where the location of this is. But when you talk about the Strait of Hormuz, this is the part that you don't get. The configuration of this, and I love this, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the Gate of Tears, the 20-mile wide, 70-mile long strategic waterway between Yemen, Djibouti, and Eritrea, connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. This is what the Houthis reckon. They control that. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. Red Sea, Persian Gulf. Ta-da! That still doesn't make any sense. It may make sense to you. It may be make obvious sense to you, but Americans don't get that. They don't understand that. I'm telling you. And sometimes I will say things specifically, and people will get the impression, they will say, am I suggesting that Americans are stupid? They're not stupid, they're just uneducated, and they don't know and they don't care. They've never had this sense of internationalism. We might still be, I don't know if it's true, the country with the least amount of passports, European travel, international travel, any kind of travel. It's not our thing. We have a big country and we, but when you live in, for example, in Europe, where if you drive 2 hours, you need a new passport, it's a different mindset. And until they see their gas prices shoot up, that's when it's important. So then they're asking right now, and this is even as we speak today, there's a ceasefire. Is there a ceasefire? The end of the ceasefire? How did President Trump accept the 10-point plan, which was Iranian, and not the 15-point plan, which was his? What about these lines in the sand? What about the threats of boots on the ground? What is it? It's like nobody's listening to President Trump. If he says, all right, we're going to blockade, we're going to say, yeah. Today, I don't want to bring that taco. You've heard this. Trump always chickens out. I certainly don't subscribe to it. But if you want to do what we do, and if you want to understand how news works, and if you want to be effective in trying to explain to people what's going on, I have to tell you what people are saying elsewhere. And what people will do is they confuse me saying this with me advocating it one way or the other. I've been going through this my whole life. Tomorrow's going to be a new issue. And you can't get upset because it's going to be something else. I lived through Vietnam. I still think, well, we're done with that. We're never going to make that mistake again. That was the dumbest thing in the world. Nobody can understand. We haven't learned a thing from that. War is profitable. War is going to be, sad to say, an omnipresent. It's going to be a perpetual aspect to our human experience. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. It's just true. Okay. So Trump's attack on critical voices, critical conservative voices on the line, have elevated them, making Candace and Tucker bigger than ever. So Tucker Carlson, who they say he was low IQ, I don't know where that comes from. He didn't, what would he say? He didn't finish college or something. You got to be very careful with that, Mr. President, because many of the people who represent the core and the backbone of your military are people who didn't go to college either. And there are a lot of other people who didn't go to college or dropped out. Granted, they're, Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and all that. But it's a different thing. You're going to be talking about this anachronism one day about college. College is going to be, I'm sorry. I think it's important. Sure. Education is always important. Always. And there's no way around it if you want to do something of a professional nature. But these are like people who say, we need to go back to the days of newspapers. Oh, stop it. That doesn't work like that. It's a different time. Tucker has enjoyed an apotheosis, this elevation, this beatification, this canonization, this new status, because he's taking on everybody and people love that. And believe me, sir, he is anything but second rate or anything but less popular. Fox News was an albatross. Fox News, even when Glenn Beck, remember when Glenn Beck, 1 minute, he wanted to be like, he was toying with, am I Alex Jones or am I this? I don't know. But whatever it was, you can't do there. You have to stick with the script. You have to stick with the script. You've got to be absolutely satisfied with the script, with the narrative. That's why Hannity's been so successful. Say what you want about him. By the way, anybody who's lucky enough to follow Rush and Bill O'Reilly is also the luckiest guy in the world, but he's never, ever, ever veered from the message. No hits, no runs, no errors. Just say it. It's McDonald's. You want to know what you're going to get. This is not a slam. This man knows exactly. If you want to know the secret of cable news in particular success, watch what he does. But you do know that cable news is going bye-bye. It's just not. Look what's happening to every. Listen, Fox News, bless their heart. And by the way, this is still a testament to the genius of Roger Ailes, a sexual predator, but nonetheless a programming genius. And it's still there because not only is it, who knows? I don't want to talk about Fox News, but what I'm saying is they're there, but they're the exception, but they're not going to be here forever. Look what Zaslav's doing. Look at CNN. Look at Discovery. Just look at it. It's done. It's finished. Late night TV is over. What you're seeing right now. This, well, me, yes, but this particular format that Trump mocks is it. This is the most important thing in the world. There's nobody right now. There are going to be people who are going to be raised on this. Ask young people. Ask your grandson, granddaughter. Ask your grandkids. Ask young people. Where do you get your news from? And they'll tell you TikTok or this or not Facebook, but regular shows. TikTok in particular. Some people still like Facebook. Facebook is not dead. I know people laugh at that. That's where they get them. And you can say, "Wow, that's not news." Really? You really think so? Really? You really think that that's not news? Come on. Stop it. Again, it's look, I've been through this my whole life. I've seen this. I remember I'm old enough where in my generation, I remember AM going to FM. There was a time when it was AM radio. FM was around since the 20s, but nobody, I was like, who the hell wants FM? It says such. And then came underground, and then came AOR and album-oriented rock, or all over the road, as we called it. And then there was, it's just a different story. It's hard to believe. But then they loved FM. But I remember that. I remember that when people went from AM to FM, from cassette to 8-track to reel to reel. So I've seen the methodology, the delivery system change. The method is the same. The information is the same. It's going to be music. It's going to be information. It's going to be news. But how it's delivered is a different story. And they often confuse the means of delivery with the subject matter or the items that are covered or the particular area or range of such. See, that's the mistake they're making. And the biggest of the biggest today, bar none, in terms of style, it's like she's Muay Thai or am I saying that correctly? Or whatever, the most brutal of MMAs compared to needlepoint. I mean, she is the Gracie family compared. There's nobody like her. Nobody has the temerity, the intrepidity, the guts. She's brutal. She is brutal. She will cut your balls off, hand them to you, but before she hands them, further fillet them, slice and dice, and put you to the process. Here you go, and hand you up. Here you go. I'm giving back to you. Here's your balls. Take them. They've been Candicized. And she is a political action committee. I keep saying it should be COPAC, the Candace Owens Political Action Committee or Public Affairs Committee. Because I'm telling you, if she were to say, all right, everybody, I want you to go to this little district in Alabama, District 3, there's an important critical congressional race, and I want you to go there, and I want you to donate, and I want you to be there. People would fly there. People would listen to her because they trust her. They trust her faith. They trust her guts. They trust her message. And in Tucker, they trust his sincerity, his intrepidity, his thoroughness, but they trust her. Not that they don't trust him, but it's a different thing. Candace is different. And when Trump came after her and said, see, this is why Trump's got to be kidding. He's got to be kidding. Said that Brigitte Macron looks better than what? He actually said this. Brigitte Macron, he said, looks better. He actually said this than Candace Owens. Remember this? This is a little known picture it's an old publicity picture. I'm sorry, it's the old famous Senor Wences. I'm sorry. I saw that. Is it cruel? Oh, yes. Am I cruel? Oh, absolutely. Did you see what's happening here? Marjorie Taylor Greene. What do you call her? Marjorie Trader Brown. I guess it was a Brown. Is that I don't know what that means. Brown is some kind of fecal reference, a mistake, an attempt at humor. I don't know. I can't tell. He mentioned He made poor guy. He tried to throw something at Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly hasn't said anything. Megyn Kelly she's good. She's kind of a feisty. She reminds me of something like, Entertainment Tonight kind of a thing. She's like a Mary Hart sort of you know what I mean? But with an attitude. She's and then Alex, we've already talked about that. This guy was OG, is OG. Don't ever forget that. I know you may not like him now. I know he says some crazy things. Let me tell you something. He is absolutely brilliant. He was the first one there, my friends. Remember this. And people listen to him. So that being said, you're seeing something different. Now, I hope everybody takes heed, makes great focus of this one. Because let me tell you something. There's a brand new group of people. And I've never been one to anticipate or to consider third parties, because I used to always say, and a lot of people do, I don't want a third party. I want a second party, because there's a uniparty. The Democrat and Republican version of this thing was basically the illusion of the paradigm of left to right. It was two sides of the same coin: Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Burger King, McDonald's. What's okay. But the issue is going to be, there's going to be a new party. And I don't know what you want to call it. But there's a brand new group of people, and I'm going to tell you something. The patron saint of this is going to be Candace Owens. You can laugh at that all you want. You can think I'm crazy. It doesn't really matter. I'm used to that. In fact, if you don't think I'm crazy, I'm not doing something wrong. I'm not doing something right. If you don't think immediately I'm nuts, then I'm wasting my time, because that's how I view everything. I speak a brutal truth, a truth that is not really necessarily appreciated by a lot of people, and I don't really care for it. Doesn't really matter. So the bottom line is simply this, and I mean it very, very much. Thanks to the president, and thanks to what's going on in the world right now, we have a brand new group of people, a brand new group of folks, young people in particular, who are being brought to the dance, who are being part of this pavane, so to speak, at the behest and at the instruction and at the invitation of Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. And what we're seeing right now is something that cannot be put into words in terms of how everything is drastically changed. And let me just say one more thing about Candace. They love her. They love her. They love her. They love her beyond anything you can imagine. Believe me, there is not, and even Tucker, they love him, but there is not, she does something. I don't know why. It's like, some things you just love. Macaroni and cheese. Why? I don't know. Who doesn't like macaroni and cheese? Who? People love it. People love it. They love it. Candace is macaroni and cheese. They just love her. And you could try to, you could debate, and you could try to, well, maybe if we take Tucker or somebody. No. He has his own particular trajectory. You can't do this. Don't overanalyze this. There is nobody. And when it comes to this, who are the others? And by the way, these traitors, these quislings, these folks, and you saw them initially when they were at the White House, when they received the binder. Remember the binders from Pam Bondi? Remember that one? All those folks, you never saw them again. They were kind of weird about Epstein. And by the way, Epstein thing is not that we'll talk about this. There's something happening right now regarding Melania and this. Nobody can figure it out. It's like, why are you bringing this up now? Nobody was even thinking about them. I have some ideas. We'll talk about that. Bottom line is simply this. Trump knows. He's not stupid, and he's not crazy, and he's not non-compos mentis. Sometimes, I will say this, he's foolish. Sometimes he thinks he has that old black magic, that old charm, that luck, that Trump luck, where he can just come along and just do something, and you're thinking, not you really can't, you just, because he's always lucky. He just does what he wants, and he says what he wants, and people look at this as perhaps his braggadocious charm in a weird way. But he's got, so the people that will bring him down are his people who work with him, his associates, his crew, his staff. We'll talk about that later on. But in the meantime, Tucker in particular, but Candace, should actually pick up the phone in some kind of private channel and thank the president ever, because he basically, out of all of the folks that are listening, he endorsed two people by basically calling them out in particular. Don't forget, Alex is there because he's just a presence that will always be there. But he basically said, these are your leaders. These are the future. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she comes and goes. And by the way, everybody that we've mentioned showed a degree of loyalty to the president at first. And there's one thing also that Americans don't like, is they don't like when people don't appreciate loyalty and fealty and tradition. Okay? Does that make sense to you? Good. Because, my friends, this is getting really better. Now, you know the routine. Please like the video. Please hit that contribution. Oh, that too. But hit the subscription button. Because many people, I'm finding out like 70% of the people who watch this don't subscribe. What? And also hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Remember, this is critical stuff. Critical. And now in the section below, I want you to comment as you see fit.